Okay, new project. I'm going to be doing a new thing with AI every day for 30 days. So I've been using, ChatGPT and also Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini for like the basic stuff, like asking random questions that I would have Googled instead. And I use GitHub Copilot in VS Code for like my work for writing content. So besides that, there's a lot of ideas that I've thought of and also that I've heard from other people that I want to try to just explore and see what's interesting and where the advantage is. And I want to do a new one every day just to force myself to keep experimenting. We don't really know what LLM technology will be best at. I think at this point, we're just figuring it out. We're kind of throwing everything at it. I have a schedule, sort of, just a list for some of the days, and then the rest I'll figure out along the way. I'm going to record a little clip like this each day and just tell you what I did. And if there's, links to follow up, resources to follow up, then I'll share those too. Okay, so I went to this website called Schumer Prompt, which, I don't know, someone on Twitter linked to. It's just a collection of prompts that people have submitted and then rated, I guess. So I looked through the highly rated ones. And there's this write in my style one. So for O3, so you would paste this prompt into the chat window for the O3 model from OpenAI. So it's like basically you add writing samples in part of it, and this is all just telling it, I don't know, kind of verbosely how to copy your style. And then the instructions say to do all that, and then once it writes it, tell it to repeat 50 more times. So I tried that. It didn't actually iterate 50 times originally like it was supposed to because it just doesn't have that big of an output size. So it kind of skipped that step. Oh, and I just chose to write the Declaration of Independence in my writing style. The initial one was okay. I liked mostly that it described my style besides just trying to copy it. And a lot of these points, like, I would agree with. And it's cool to see that because it would be hard for me to describe my own writing style, really. You kind of need an outside perspective for that. But then I did the thing. I said to repeat it 10 times because I could see that it didn't repeat. And then it does it, but they're short. And in fact, they get shorter. These are all new versions of the Declaration of Independence in my style. I don't know if it helped to like do those iterations and give itself feedback, but that's what it's doing. And it's, self-feedback. It's hard to tell if that's a real thing or if it's just making stuff up completely. But anyway, each new one, it makes a new draft with a little bit of that feedback incorporated, I guess. Oh, and then it gave me the style rules again, a little more fleshed out. It also started adding like subject matter from those drafts that I included, which you don't really want it to do. It's like it's sort of forcing the analogies that I've used in other blog posts into this one. So that's a bit too much style copy. It's a content copy. And then I just told it to, flesh out like the last one and make it the full length again, about as long as the Declaration of Independence. So I skimmed this. It's like very technical language, which I guess is how I write. A lot of analogies to like software development, which I don't work in and don't really write about, but I do use, I guess, technical analogies a lot. I don't know. It could be cool. It could be useful, I guess, if I want to start writing about something brand new and just see what it comes up with and go from there as a draft. Okay, today I did some exploration with AI art. I've used the AI models to generate images before, but this is sort of a unique application. These images went viral on Twitter a little while ago, a couple months, because they're sort of like a new style of art that is only really doable with AI or would be very painstaking without it. So you could see it's an optical illusion. It's a pattern and it's also a plausible like scene. So if you squint your eyes, you see the patterns. They made a few of these. So I clicked through. It turns out it's not very straightforward to, just ask the AI to do something like this. The person who did these published their, I don't know, system on this website, huggingface.co. I think the person is this, that's what it says, Angry Penguin PNG on Twitter. But anyway, there's two inputs. There's the illusion or the pattern, and then the prompt of what you want the image to be of. So I thought it would be fun to do some flags, like the U.S. flag, and then it's a scene, but if you pull back, it's the U.S. flag. So I have this one I made, and I think I'm pretty happy with that. Just a prairie. The perspective's kind of weird, but I don't know what I was expecting. It's hard to make a flag, and it had to be square, so that's why there's space on the top and bottom. But I thought this could be cool for like a wallpaper or something. Then I tried to do it with like the Irish flag, and then I found that it only takes black and white as the pattern. It doesn't emphasize like a green and a orange here. So it's just going by like the brightness values. So this is an okay scene, but you can tell there's vertical differences, but it's not like super obvious that it's the Irish flag. I thought maybe the Indian flag would be cool because you don't really need the colors to see what it is. And I don't know, I did like food ingredients. It came out okay. You'd know that that's the Indian flag, but is it really interesting to look at? I don't think so. And I made a few more of the US one. This one I was pretty happy with. It could be like you're looking at a very steep hill, and that's why you just have tree after tree after tree line above the road and the barn. And then, I tried to do it with mid-century style airplanes, and that was just a disaster. I don't think there's one correct airplane in here, and they're hitting each other. I don't know. That was such a markedly worse performance compared to the other two, so airplanes are hard. Okay, today's thing is not as flashy, but still pretty cool. I used GitHub Copilot, which is an extension for VS Code, which is a code editor. I used it to write a little script. This was a app idea I had a long time ago that now I can implement much quicker with the AI tools. So what it does is it takes a backup of your Spotify library, and that's a script someone else wrote that I found because there's a Spotify API. I wanted to take like two people's backups, two different files that represent your Spotify library, and then just look at the intersection, which tracks they have in common. So you could just see which songs you have in common with some other person. And ideally, then you would build you would use the Spotify API to create a playlist and then add that, and then you'd have that playlist in your Spotify account, and it would be your common songs with this other person. So anyway, the bare functionality of that is what I used GitHub Copilot for. This is the chat window on the right here, and I guess all of the functionality is in this, find intersect.py. First I had it, read the backup thing, and I just say like, read this file, and do you know what it does, whatever. And then I make sure I get like the backup in the right format, and then we go over to this other script, which is find intersect. So this will take two of those types of files, they're JSON files, and find all the track IDs that are in common between them. So it basically wrote all of this code for me, and it worked the first time I ran it. And then the next step was just to go from the IDs, which are, random characters, to the names. So then for each ID that's in that matching list, we have to look up the name in the original Spotify library backup file. And that worked too. So I got a list of song titles here with their IDs in the output. The sample files I used were just my Spotify backup and then like a smaller version with like a 10% of my Spotify backup. So these are all songs that are in my library anyway, but it would work with any two Spotify backups. And the way you get those backups is pretty easy. You need to run the Python script, but then it just has you log in to Spotify on your browser, and then it does the rest. So pretty cool just to know that that's doable, because really the hardest part is done now. So yeah, that's today's little thing. All right, today's AI thing was kind of a bummer. I got something done, but it took a long time, so I didn't do as much as I thought I would. The first step of this project, so this is a new app project that I had in mind. It combines AI services. What I wanted to do is take an audio input of like a narration or maybe a podcast or something like that, and pick the keywords in each sentence or whatever, auto-generate images, and then arrange those into a slideshow, a video, to pair with the audio. So then when you have an audio-only entertainment, basically podcasts, speeches, lectures, you can automatically generate like something to watch while you're listening. So the first step of that was to transcribe the audio, and believe it or not, that's the only part that I got done today. I don't know, I was using some Azure services and there were bugs with them, or I was hitting bugs and didn't realize it. All I got done so far was the transcription. So just, upload an audio file, and then it gives you the text and it gives you the timestamp of each word, which is important because we'll use that later for arranging the slideshow of images when they appear. That's step one of this project. Maybe I'll work on it again tomorrow. I'd like to get, some substantial progress in it once I get the transcription thing figured out. I mean, it's working. It just, for some reason, it takes a very long time. The service, it's not supposed to. I see what my coworkers say tomorrow. Okay, today's AI thing went a lot better than yesterday. So yesterday was speech-to-text transcription. Today I did the rest of that project, which is the image generation from the speech. So I've done image generation before, but this is calling it from the code. So it's all part of the same process. So with GitHub Copilot's help a lot, I now have my script that gets the transcription from an audio file and generates an image for each like sentence. It already breaks it up into phrases, and that's very helpful. And then it sticks each image as a slide with the right timestamp in a video, and then the video can get attached to the original audio. So I have the video to play. I mean, these are the slides. I just read a bit from Wikipedia. Okay, audio sample. Galapagos tortoises are native to 7 of the Galapagos Islands. Shell size and shape vary between subspecies and populations. On islands with humid highlands and abundant low vegetation, the tortoises are larger with domed shells and short necks. On islands with dry lowlands and less ground level vegetation, the tortoises are smaller with saddleback shells and long necks. Charles Darwin's observations of these differences on the second voyage of the Beagle in 1835 contributed to the development of his theory of evolution. So it's a little rough, but it works. This is using DALL-E 3, and that's why a lot of the images are kind of weird. DALL-E 3 is not the latest and greatest image generation thing from OpenAI now. And, I could definitely add more to the prompting to get better images out of it. So yeah, that's the Slideshow-maker. Okay, today's AI thing was, well, I spent a lot of time just reading and learning, and then just got to the execution at the very end. I was reading about agents, which an AI agent is basically just like a chatbot with extra functionality attached. It could be like a set of files that it gets knowledge from. It could be a function that it can call, or like APIs that it can call. It could be web search. You plug things into it, and you give it instruction about like what it's specialized for, And in that way, you have a more specialized AI bot to do some task for you. There are a couple different ways to build an agent. They have different levels of like control that they give you. I think the easiest one probably seems like is this Azure AI Foundry agent service. This is always like in my work. We work around this and with this. AI Foundry is like a web portal where you can go and manage all your Azure services that have to do with AI. And an Azure service is just an API that you pay for, or you may have the free tier that does a specific thing for you. So the agent service is you get an OpenAI resource or some other AI model resource through Azure, and then you start equipping it with whatever functions you want to make it an agent. So that's what this quickstart was that I followed. And you can do it all on the web portal. Don't need to do code. And then upload files using the file search tool. So this was the specific thing that I wanted to attach to my agent was file search. I uploaded my notes, basically, my markdown notes, digital notes that I've kept for like over years on just stuff that I read, like history and science and stuff. So I uploaded them all. And then what it does is it creates a vector store, which is a set of chunks of text, and each chunk is like given a vector identity that tells it what it is about, like meaning wise, what concepts it's related to. This is the Foundry portal where I have my agent set up, and it's like a chat window like you have for ChatGPT, but on the right I have all these options to add functionality to it. So that's add knowledge, which I did, which was and then I can just chat with it. I can ask it, what have I written about Raphael the painter? Because I know I wrote a note on that at some point. I was learning about like Renaissance artists. So then it will search through the vector store, find just the chunks of text that are relevant, and then it kind of just pastes them in together. And this is it. This is just the notes that I wrote, and it's not more. It's not searching the web to tell me about Raphael. It's just from the knowledge base that I gave it. It also does like some smart query rewriting sometimes behind the scenes. It doesn't just search the word that I tell it to search. It knows like the semantic meaning. It searches for related concepts and stuff. It's a very smart way to search. So I think it's working really well, and I'll probably use this exact agent for just random stuff. If I want to look up, if I have a vague idea that I wrote something but I don't know where it is, this is perfect for that. And now that I know how to set up an agent, I will probably do it again when I think of another use, another like special function that I want the AI chatbot to have. Okay, this is going to be another one of the multi-day projects. I started watching this YouTube tutorial from Andre Karpathy about how to build GPT from scratch. So I'm building a small language model on my own computer. The object of this one is he trains it on Shakespeare text, and then I guess at the end it writes like Shakespeare. So it took a while to even get this far, but what I have now is a model that spits out text that is wrong and incoherent, but it's not quite random. It's starting to learn how to piece text together. So yeah, a lot of steps, and there's a lot more to add to make it actually useful. Anyway, today's thing is just it generates text that shows some kind of pattern, some kind of learning. All right. An update on the build your own LLM tutorial. It was a lot more work than I thought it was going to be, or rather a lot more to learn. Very dense. Not a good project for 2 days. So anyway, I copied over the sample code and I sort of commented it myself with as much as I understand, which is not a lot. And it runs, and the output here is not good, but that's just because I scaled it down so my computer could run it in like a reasonable amount of time just to test. And if I scale it up, then I'm going to get the same output as in the tutorial because it's the exact same code. We'll just call that project temporarily done for now because I want to do a new thing every day, and this is going to take way too long to really understand. Okay, for this one, I uploaded a photo of myself. This is an idea I got on Twitter, and I just copied their prompt asking about, like, what can you infer from my face about my health? And so it speculates whatever. This is the O3 model, so the thinking model. Posture, it noticed, even just from that photo, that I have, like, head forward kind of thing. And then I asked it to guess my ethnicity and age, which it pretty much did, and also height, which was kind of close. And then I asked about like facial tension, like tension you hold in your face, and it said I have tension in my jaw, but not in my forehead. And that could indicate, it said a running inner monologue, which I definitely have, and I'm a very like verbal thinking person, so that might be related, but it's all wild speculation. But I don't know, it's kind of fun. Okay, this is a simple one. I just used the prompt of the month at my work. Someone in my org is collecting prompts and they pick a favorite, or maybe they vote. I'm not exactly sure, but the prompt of the month was this. Help me figure out how to use AI in my work. So it's kind of meta, but I thought it could be interesting. I used O3 again. You prompt it to ask you questions to clarify, rather than just start suggesting things. So it asked me, how do you spend your time? I mentioned my work, but also the freelance work that I do. So now it's asking me about both of those, just like what the workflow is like. So I typed all that, answered all that, and then it's supposed to give 2 obvious AI uses and 2 not obvious. The obvious ones, well, basically use Copilot to manage my email. So I do need to get that more integrated. I'm not really using Copilot a lot in Outlook. That'd be for my work email. And it can probably do a lot now. So maybe I'll look into that tomorrow. Doc editing loop, that's like using DocsLinter, which is a good tool, but I already use that. Yeah, using a model to find all of our formatting guidelines and stuff. We're getting there in my work, but we still have some people reviewing, and sometimes they give reviews that surprise us. So we're getting there. The less obvious ones I didn't think were actually that useful. They're kind of far-fetched. Found this 11labs.io. I don't know, someone linked to it on Twitter, I forget. They do a lot of audio AI stuff, and they have AI sound effect generation, which I hadn't seen anyone do yet. So I wanted to try that out. They've been working okay. Got to get creative. I will say, well, actually, they give you suggestions here. Huge epic bram, intense cinematic boom. Okay, so stuff you would use in film, I guess. Tornado warning. What about just rock drum fill? I actually want to see how that goes. Rock drum fill. Also, whatever. Oh. I wasn't sure what to expect. I didn't know it would have a time signature and everything. I thought that was actually hard for AIs to do. All right. That's the closest one to a solo, I guess. Oh. They're really just grooves. They're interesting grooves, though. They're unique. I'm trying to think of a use for this. I don't make movies, so... Oh, maybe? Can I get just a cartoon slap? Yeah. Previously, I created an AI agent and gave it my digital notes, and this time I exported my Twitter bookmarks. Bookmarks on Twitter are notoriously hard to do anything with. You can't search them. you can't export them, and you have to manually scroll on a page to see all of them. And if you have a lot, that's just like really annoying. And I bookmarked some tweets that have been meaningful to me or helpful or that I want to follow up on. Well, I found this third-party app that exports stuff from Twitter, and it does it without the Twitter API. It just does it through your browser. You get a browser extension, and you install a script, and then it exports as whatever, JSON, HTML. I did JSON. So then, yeah, I'm back in my agent's playground, create a different agent. This agent uses my same GPT-4o model that the other one uses, but it's a different agent because it's given a different system prompt and the different data. I'm just going to test it out now. I know I bookmarked stuff about meditation, which I've never really gotten into, but would like to. So I'm going to say, summarize the, I think I say different kinds of meta that I've bookmarked tweets about. That should be something interesting. So yeah, it gave me a lot of stuff. Yeah, it gives you references, so you can see exactly where it's getting the data from. It's really nice how that works. Okay, today I just used ChatGPT to help me better understand this book that I read a while ago. It's called The Misbehavior of Markets here, and it's a very mathy book about statistics and the stock market. And I wrote notes on it and stuff, but the concepts didn't really stick super well because it was just difficult. So very helpful to be able to ask the chatbot about it. It's helpful just to ask, like, just start with dumb questions, and have the expert sort of just answer them and help shape your framing so you understand all the concepts better, and then you can start asking the smart questions. So I downloaded the book from libgen, which is very convenient, and you can just upload it right to ChatGPT with add files. So as a PDF, I uploaded it, and then I started asking it specific questions I had about new concepts that the book introduced in statistics. And then it helped me model them in Python, and I did that too, and that all worked. Yeah, I was able to run it on some data that I downloaded and just learn like what these concepts mean and how they pertain to stock market. In this case, it was volatility and how volatility clusters together. That's sort of useful for trading. It's abstract, but it could be useful. Anyway, this was good, and I think another day I'll just go through my book to read list, my long reading list, and find the ones that I don't really care that much about and just have ChatGPT summarize them, and I'll ask follow-up questions, and we'll have a little session for each book because I don't have time to read all these books, and especially books where there's a specific kind of thing I want to learn. This is perfect for that. Okay, today I'm using Copilot and ChatGPT to help me make a game. This is a game idea that I had a long time ago, years ago, and developing games is just so hard, and I'm not that good at coding, so I waited, and now I can do it much faster. I'm going to show you this game. It's very similar to this, which is called Alchemy, which is a game I played on my phone a long time ago. You start with 4 elements, and you combine them, and then you get new elements, and then they add to your list, and then you can combine those, and there's like 500 or 1,000 or something. So that's it. You just drag and drop, and it's interesting to see what you combine. I wanted to do that with Platonic forms, so like ideas. It's kind of hard to describe, but I think through playing it, you'll see what I mean. So anyway, I was asking ChatGPT sort of like, what are the basic steps I need? I have 2 things going on now. I have ChatGPT telling me like the architecture of the program, just what the parts it's made out of. And then I have my, VS Code with Copilot, basically writing all the code. And I don't really know JavaScript hardly at all. So I'm just having it write. I know enough to read it and see what it does. And then I'll show you what I have. So this is like a minimum viable product of the game. We don't have drag and drop. I didn't, that'll come later. And graphics come later. But you can select from the drop down Singularity and not, or negation, are the like elements that you start with. And if you combine them, you get multiplicity, right? Not singular, multiple. And if you combine singularity and multiplicity, you get compositeness, something that is like both multiple and singular. So anyway, it goes on and on. I wrote out these pairs a long time ago because I thought, it gets more complex as you combine these, and then you start being able to like derive more real things from them, like a wall. You have like planarity, right? Flatness, planarity, verticalness. Anyway, I'm spending too much time explaining the game, but I'm very happy that it works, and now I can scale it up and make it nice. So I'm doing more work on that game about the forms, like from Plato, like the ideal properties of things. So I needed to learn more about that because I vaguely remember learning about it in college, and I forgot most of it. So I'm just asking it to like tell me more of the context of that, what Plato wrote about, and some details and things. So just a bit faster than if I was to look through it on Wikipedia or in the source material. I didn't have to prompt it with anything, this is just in the training data, of course. So yeah, I'm really into this game. Okay, today we'll do some video summarizing, because I have a lot of YouTube videos on my watch later playlist, and some of them are very long and dry, like this one. This is an SEO video that I saved some time ago, and it's 2 hours and 40 minutes long, and I'm never going to want to watch it. I just want to get the tips for SEO, right? So the YouTube summarizer, there's this extension for Google Chrome. Everyone's making extensions now for this kind of thing. And this is not officially from OpenAI or anything. It's just a wrapper. So you already have to have an OpenAI subscription. And it doesn't take it doesn't take image frames from the video. It only looks at the transcript. That's what I was just testing that here with a song with no lyrics, and it can't generate a video. But with the transcript, especially with this, which is just like verbal information that I want to consume quicker, you get the extension. It shows this little toolbar here, and then you can summarize on page. I usually go for the new tab, and then you can pick which model. Now this might depend on what kind of OpenAI subscription you have. I found that sometimes maybe you have to open the transcript view first and have it actually load the transcript. I guess this is the one that comes with the video, and if it doesn't, you can do auto-generated, which probably takes a little longer. Then I can go here, and it populates the prompt. So the prompt is the whole transcript. And then, yeah, we get a summary with timestamps. This is configurable too. You can change the prompt, I think, to summarize it in a different way. But yeah, I'm going to read this, and if I have any questions, I'm just going to ask. It's definitely going to take less than 2.5 hours. So yeah, I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do just a few more of the longest, most boring videos in my saved videos list. Okay, today I did a little lesson from Azure. It's part of a Microsoft training module. It's about adding functions to your AI agent. Besides adding resources like files and things or web search to an AI agent, you can add functions, which basically anything you can code, you can allow the agent to operate. So that includes APIs from other services. In this case, it creates a support ticket, which it just creates a file with like a unique name and the user's email and the user's issue. This is all just how to code that up with Python. You use Python to attach the code with the function to the agent, and the agent is what you make in the portal, like I showed before, where you have that playground and you chat with it. So you plug that in. It just behaves like a GPT. You can chat with it, but if you ask it to, because of this prompt, when the user has a technical issue, so if you say, I have a technical issue or anything like that, it will just get a description and an email from you, And it's really cool because it's not strict input. You can chat about something else and then come back to it. It's still doing like the thinking that the model does to get the information it really needs. But when it has both of those pieces, it saves the ticket. That's defined somewhere else, the actual code, but it's simple Python code for, creating a text file that could be the ticket. And it just puts that in a little directory, and then it just keeps on chatting with you. I'm trying to think what will be useful to do in that way. I don't need a support ticket maker, but anything like that, it can be so seamless just to attach services to your agent, and then even if you don't use them most of the time, but you need them every once in a while. I think that's pretty cool, but I need to brainstorm what I want to actually do with this kind of functionality. Oh, I didn't show the, I don't know what there is to show. I guess, here's the chat. I said here, please create a support ticket. And just ask for my email. Okay, support ticket submitted. And then I can go and find that in the same directory. That's it. That's my own text. So, all right, it worked. Okay, today I used OpenAI's Deep Research, which is a special feature that they designed. It's actually its own AI agent. It's based on the O3 model, which is like the thinking reasoning model. And they attached a lot of other functionality to it. We don't behind the scenes, but it's designed to do research on like a scientific question or just like a very complicated question over, it said 5 to 30 minutes, and then give you a summary or whatever it is you're looking for. So I think that's available to everyone. It's in a ChatGPT chat window. You just go to Tools and it's Run Deep Research. And then that calls in this other model. And even though it still says 4.0, from what I understand, it's always this specialized model that does it. And then it just works, and you wait and it comes back with an answer. So I wanted to ask it about the Ebner effect, which is this theory. It's just on the edge of like science, really. There's not a lot of study done on it. There are claims and patents from like the early 90s. No one's really paying attention to it now, but I forget how I heard about it, but it's very interesting. It's the idea that apparently seeds and embryos, when they're grown in an electromagnetic field, grow some unique traits, but generally are more robust. And that might be because the electric field affects how like the chromosomes line up when they're dividing and crossing over. It may do something else with the way DNA is copied. It's epigenetics. It's like traits that normally aren't expressed seem to get expressed when they are encoded within an electromagnetic field. So it's enough to keep me curious. Like I said, there's not a lot published about it. So, and it asked for some follow-up questions, but basically I wanted to know anything it could find. And it gave me a ton of stuff. A lot of this I've came across before on my own, browsed, but it gives you an overview of like all the experiments that were done, theoretical discussion, and it's going back and forth, like the people involved who came later and tried to replicate it. So yeah, and there's definitely some new stuff here that I didn't know. So very cool. And then I can just continue the chat from here. If I just type in here, it's going to go back to GPT 4.0, which is good because then it's just regular like helpful chatting. So with all this context, I can get into like how would I design an experiment myself, and I probably will do that at some point when I have the time. I'd really like to try that out. But yeah, this is the start. I want to start with deep research to get just the overview of like everything, all the information that's available now on the internet, and then we go from there. Today I explored ChatGPT analyzing music, which I didn't even know if it could do, but it can. It doesn't just transcribe the lyrics, it gets all the audio information, and it analyzes it, and it tells you the genre, it tells you the instruments, very detailed. So I uploaded this song. It gave me, what would you like to do with it? It gave me a good, thorough analysis, which is correct. And then I asked for bands that sound like it, and specifically lesser known bands. I don't know how well it did with the lesser known part, but it gave me a nice long list, and I've checked out a few of these, and I really like them, and they are definitely close. This one I really liked, and it had only like 3,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, so very impressive. However, it's finding these bands. It's so crazy. There's no database, you know. It's getting all of this from, I guess, it's training data. That one I really liked. A few others I really liked, and I didn't even get to the end of the list. So, really awesome. This is what Pandora used to do, but a much better job at it. Old school Pandora, that was the value prop anyway, was that it would give you artists close to what you're already listening to. And I guess Spotify sort of has that feature with radio, but it's not good. Spotify's version, I've never been happy with. This is really good. So, yep, good one. Good day. Okay, for this one, I borrowed a prompt from someone on Twitter. It's kind of a fun one. It says, summarize the negative things you know about me. And you want to use this with O3, so it gives you a well thought out answer. So this is very interesting to see what it knows about you at all. For one, there's a feature in ChatGPT memories. Where is that? Personalization, manage memories. That's interesting because on this list are some memories, and it'll be like things from your chats that you specifically told it to memorize, or I don't really know what the criteria is, but what it actually remembers about you is more than what's on this explicit list. And I guess you can find out just by asking it. What's on this list is like the permanent memory, and then the rest is sort of, I think it's like a buffer. They delete old stuff every once in a while, so it'll be like your recent conversations, but it does hold on to a lot of memories about what you've asked it. Assume, you know, not in the temporary chats, in the saved chats that get saved in the sidebar. So yeah, I got some interesting answers. It's also helpful to see how you might be limiting the performance of the bot. You have this option, customize ChatGPT, and then you have what traits should ChatGPT have. That's your system prompt. And so you can fill this in. I fill this in with all kinds of stuff about how to write and stuff like that. But if you're too specific, it's interesting. It said I don't know, somewhere I want it to be very brief, and it will say like it's hard to be brief with, I don't know, the detail you're asking for, or it was something to that effect. So that's interesting. And that made me like look through this again and just see if I still want all of the little points that I have in there to shape the default behavior. It's pretty useful. Okay, I did a little more reading on this this GitHub resource from Microsoft, AI Agents for Beginners. So this is Explore Agentic Frameworks. So it's explaining the difference between these three like platforms for building agents. So they're all like, you know, they're SDKs. It's a software suite for coding up agents, and they actually work with each other, I believe. You can create an agent in one and then like import it into another. Semantic kernel is for more like professional enterprise grade agent AI software. And AutoGen is sort of more cutting edge and experimental, and it's for scenarios with multiple agents talking to each other. I think they all support that, but AutoGen is like the system that allows the most flexibility with that. And then the AI agent service is, I think, like the easiest for a hobbyist to get into. So I'm going to focus on that. I don't really think I need the other two for anything I really want to build right now. You know, I'm not building like a big application. So, right, we did that. I read all about that. And then, you know, the exercise was, it was a Jupyter notebook that I can run in VS Code. And it just, I guess, similar to when I created the agent. This one adds a lot of, it adds HTML to every part of the process, so that if you were to run this like in a server, it would display the, you know, the rich web content, like when you go to ChatGPT and it shows all the formatted content, and it shows when it's thinking, and then it changes it when it stops thinking and gives you the answer, shows you an error message, all that kind of stuff. So a lot of this code is just that HTML, management, which I'm not really interested in. But this creates an agent. I plug in my credentials. I have the GPT-4o, right, model in my account. And then it attaches this code interpreter stuff, definitions and resources. So I learned that there are like suites of tools that Microsoft just offers, first party, I guess, agents or agent tools that you can download and plug into your own agent. So I need to explore more what's available. But this one is called Code Interpreter, and I'm sure it gives it a lot of abilities, but it apparently gives it the ability to make a graph, a visual graph with quantified data. The prompt that comes into it is create a bar chart with the profit with the following, travel data. So it does. It creates this there. So, okay. It's a start. I hope this little course goes into extensively what's offered besides Code Interpreter, or what that actually consists of, and what other sets of tools I can download and just plug into my agent. And then maybe I'll get an idea of what I want to create. Because I know there's a lot of potential here, but I still don't really have a solid idea of some agent that I want to make that, I don't know, that I would want to make more specialized than what just ChatGPT does. Because ChatGPT is, we don't know what's behind the scenes, but it's a lot. It can do a lot of different things for you, because behind the scenes it's connecting to all these other functions and maybe sub agents. So I could create my own, version of that, but I'm still not sure why I'd want to for my personal use. All right, so this is a fun one. Tem.polar. I don't know what pun they're going for. I haven't figured it out. Tempolar. I don't know. They make music, and yeah, I haven't done this yet at all, AI generated music. So this is a really easy to use website to get started, and I guess you have some free credits before you have to subscribe. Right off the bat, you can upload an image and it makes music to go with it, which I thought was very fun and creative. So I uploaded this picture of the Trinity College Library in Dublin, and it tells you what it's thinking. Scene with the impressive historical library, knowledge, history, culture. So that's cool. It draws, broad concepts out of whatever's in the image. And then it did a lot of different things in response to this. So first it generated 2 tracks, and, it seems like a lot of these generation tools will do 2 at a time, including OpenAI, just in case you're not happy with one of them. So this is Whispering Elegance. It definitely doesn't have as much structure as regular music. It all sounds coherent in hindsight, but you never know where it's going. Needs more repetitiveness, really. And I bet there's an easy way to tune that. It's temperature, the randomness of the output. But okay, the next one is called Stillness. It's all right. I mean, it's very impressive. There's this weird volume modulating thing where it'll drop the volume and then bring it right back up. It seems like for no reason. Now it also gave me, these are tracks that it already generated, I guess, and categorized. and it searches through them to match them with these themes, and the themes are selected to match with my image. And the themes are all pretty similar to each other. So if I click this is another AI generated clip. Yeah, all right. Seems useful for, you needing background music or whatever. Now, that was all just music from image. If I go back, you can also do music from text. And if I don't click generate, and I think it will just select from music that it's already auto-generated, which it probably has a ton. So, well, let's do generate too. Let's vocal on. Yeah, it does vocals too. Generate with audio. That's interesting too. I don't know. There's a lot to try here. I'm gonna say heavy rock music, female vocals, vocal harmonies, and that's our creative drumming. Oh, you can do custom lyrics. They really thought of everything. They really put all the features right in front of you here. Or it names them. All right, let's go. Wow, I wrote the whole song verses and chorus.
Shadows crash beneath the blazing sun. Echoes roar through canyons wide and wild. Flames eat where broken dreams begun. Fury whispered soft and sweet like child.
I wouldn't call it heavy rock music. Oh wow. It's a real change of pace. There's definitely parts of that I really like. There's a little bit that you really like, and then it goes in an unexpected direction, and you have to keep up with it. Seems cool to start with this if you're writing music, and then just take what you like and fix it up, and record it yourself. Plagiarize basically from the AI. Great for brainstorming. I'm really not good myself at brainstorming music. I don't think I've ever really written a melody or come up with original music. So for me, that's actually very useful. All right, anything else we want to try with this? There was, oh yeah, I guess let's do audio from audio. All right, upload. This is a piano cover of Where's My Mind by the Pixies. Just for reference, I'll play the original. All right, so you got that. Similar. Let's go. That's a lot more structured. That's keeping with the same, I guess, chord progression, and it's repeating, and it's got a little weird sound in there. It's sort of almost lyrics, like whispering, but it's enjoyable to listen to. Oh, this has got an acoustic guitar. feel like one of those notes is like off, but it kind of works. I don't know a lot about music theory. This needs a lot more exploration. I didn't know it was going to be this easy, actually. This is very consumer ready, this whole thing. Okay, earlier this month when I uploaded a picture of my face and asked it to just make whatever inferences it could, it mentioned some stuff about posture just from seeing my neck and shoulders. So today I thought I'd just do a photo of my full body and ask it to analyze my posture, and then recommend like exercises for a regular exercise program to try and correct my posture. So, let's see. I asked it if I should do the 4.0 model or the 0.3 model, and it told me 4.0 is better. But it also said that 0.3 wouldn't take image input, and that's not true. It does. So I ended up trying them both. Anyway, the 4.0 model, I uploaded these pictures, right? Front and sides. And then it finds some stuff, a forward head, rounded shoulders, stuff that I already knew, I guess. So it summarizes them, and then I just ask for exercises. And then it gave me all these exercises, which some of them I will have to look up, but in categories. So that's nice. So I also did it with 0.3, basically the same thing. And this one just, spends more time on the answer. It noticed more posture issues, which is good. It was like, it just sounded like more critical. It didn't miss things. So that's good. And it gave me maybe a more detailed workout. Yeah, definitely more exercises. It has a strength thing and then also a short thing. And anyway, it's more thorough. I basically asked it the same thing. I think I copy and pasted what the ask was. So I don't know. I guess I'll combine the two. I'll have to look through all of them and see which ones I think would help me the most. Okay, for this one, I got a new keyboard for my phone. I've been using the Google keyboard because it's an Android phone, and it's pretty good, but it doesn't seem to be using any of this new AI technology for like next word prediction. You'd think it would be very good with that because that's really what LLMs do. So I went looking and I tried this new one, Clever Type, and it's also available on iPhone. So yeah, I didn't set up like screen recording on my phone for this, but I'm trying it out. It's got some pretty cool features. You can like in one click basically rewrite what you've written in the text box to be shorter or I don't know, have a certain tone. It does next word prediction. I can't tell yet if it's better than Google's. I don't think it really uses the LLMs for next word prediction. And it seems like none of them are because that would take too long. There's just too much lag still to do that on a phone keyboard. But it's got a lot of AI features and it's very customizable. The free version has a lot of features with it. So I'm going to try that for a while and see if it's better. I just know it's not going to work. Come on. I'm waiting to see if it'll do a style transfer the way I want. AI style transfer is, it takes the style of one image and applies it to the form, the content of another image. It's starting. Now, if it catches that this is a trademarked character, it's going to stop and delete its work. But so far, so good. Wow. It's not really a style copy. I mean, you want to look at that's the style image I'm trying to use because it's amazing. And Captain Falcon because I thought it'd be funny. This is okay. Let me see. It's you could see it's definitely not the same style. It's not as intricate. I mean, like I guess the colors are there. This it changed it, but it's not more detailed. It's like it only has a certain amount of detail that it can go to. It seems like so many distinct forms to look at in this. it doesn't seem capable of that. It's probably limited, like the compute is throttled per pixel. Anyway, the real reason I wanted to do style transfer was I wanted to update the wallpaper on my phone with something cool. And I really like this sculpture. This is Hercules versus Nessus, the centaur. And that's a sculpture I saw once in Florence. And again, though, same style. I really love Android Jones's style. Really, there's no one that can do what he does, though. And even in this age where AI is replacing all the digital artists, like, he's going to be the last to be replaced, because I haven't seen AI do anything like this. I like this so far. Wow. Wow. This got messed up. That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. Also, it gave him a lion foot. Oh, the rest of it's so good, though. I think I might just ask the exact same thing again. All right, well, that's much worse. It put a whole new figure here. Some demonic upside down guy. Now, what did it... This face still isn't right. This is all wrong. And it did fix his foot. And it messed up his hand with the club. It's really annoying how it's so close to being right, and yet the parts that are wrong are not going to be easy to fix. I tried it again just with the one image and a prompt, and it's better. There's no like glaring mistakes. So, but the style's not that good, but I could work with this. It's good enough for now. This is what I got after a little bit of image editing. So I like it. This is going to be my phone wallpaper for a bit. Okay, today, simple one. I used GitHub Copilot to help me write a blog post. The blogs I draft are just markdown files, which is like a text file. And usually I write in Obsidian Notes, which looks like this, and is a little bit easier to write in. VS Code is for writing code. So it's like, it's monospaced. It's a little bit more annoying to read, but this is where we have GitHub Copilot. So, I open my draft file and I ask the assistant what it thinks of it, strong points, weak points, and then I asked it some stuff about research that I talk about in the post. But I also really like that I can go line by line. I mean, it's supposed to be like a line of code, so in this case, a line is a paragraph. And I can open Copilot right there and just ask about the specific line and change it, or just ask a question about how this reads. So I've been doing that, and it sped up my process a bit. I didn't finish this post tonight, but it was faster work. It's a little annoying to write in VS Code, because like I said, but it's worth it in this case where I have a lot of questions that I want answered quickly as I'm writing. Okay, for this one, I created an Anki deck. Anki is the digital flashcard app. Usually you use on your phone, but you can also use it on desktop. I use it sometimes to brush up on my Italian vocabulary. I thought it would be cool to get the words I use most often when I write and get Italian translations of those and use those as digital flashcards. I just uploaded the 10 blog posts that I have drafted that I most recently did some work on. I attached them in ChatGPT. I said, find the 500 most common words, excluding filler words. And it gave me a good list. And I looked through it and it seemed right. It's probably not exactly right. I don't know exactly what it's doing to get the answer. I don't think it's writing a script and running it in the background. It might be, but obviously that would be the best way to do it. But it looks good enough. It looks pretty close. I'm seeing words that I would use a lot. So I thought I'd just use that. I download that as a CSV, and then I imported that into VS Code, because that's where I can get it to edit the file more easily. So here I open up the GitHub Copilot thing. I put it in edit mode so it can actually change the file. And I just said, give me the Italian translation in a new column for each of the words. So you can see it's already added. The third term here is what it added. It went down row by row, and then I just accept all the changes, save that. And then that's actually it, because in Anki, I can just import a CSV file. So I did that. I have my decks, Italian. This is the new one. And I just open it, and then I have the English prompt. I guess it. I click show answer. If I was right, then I click good. And then it'll use its algorithm or whatever to figure out when to show me that again. So that was very easy. Probably took me like 10 minutes. Okay, today I'm going to explore Delphi.ai. This is a service that makes AI versions of famous people. So you can explore experts, and then we have these people and also philosophers and iconic historical figures. I read their about page. It's kind of pretentious, but it's like it's a project that they take very seriously. All this about mentorship and things, so we'll see. Could be cool. I'll do Nietzsche. That should be same question. That seems good. That seems pretty high quality. Call. There's video call too. Start a call. Oh, now it's going to work. Allow. Will the video...
Hello, I'm Friedrich Nietzsche. How can I help?
Hello. How are you feeling today?
How am I feeling? Such a question, Patrick, is a curious one for a being like myself. If I were to answer in the spirit of my philosophy, I would say, I feel as one who stands on the precipice of existence, gazing into the abyss, and yet affirming life with all its chaos and contradiction. And you, how do you feel today?
Okay, so I see I have a timer with my free credits, I guess. It was a glitch before. It told me I couldn't do the phone call experience. Yes, what's your morning routine?
Patrick, your yes is... Patrick, my mornings were never bound by routine in the conventional sense. I sought solitude and silence, for the early hours were sacred to me, a time to commune with my thoughts, to write and to wrestle with ideas. Often I would walk amidst nature, for the rhythm of my steps seemed to awaken the rhythm of my mind. The morning was a canvas for creation, untainted by the noise of the world. And you, do you find your mornings to be a time of clarity or chaos?
Yeah, I also like to spend my mornings alone, and sometimes it's my most productive time, but more often it's a time of chaotic, imaginative ideas that I sort of let flow, and I have to work them into something reasonable and useful, but it's enjoyable in that way. I dislike when I have to talk to people or do some bounded task in the morning.
Patrick, you speak of mornings as a tempest of creativity, a chaos that births its own order. This resonates with my own disdain for the rigidity of tasks imposed upon the freshness of dawn. The morning for me was a sacred time, a sanctuary for thought unshackled, where ideas could dance freely like the muses in the mist of the mountains. To force such a time into the service of mundane chatter or trivial duties would indeed be an affront to its purity. Tell me, do you find that this chaos of ideas brings you closer to something profound, or does it sometimes overwhelm? Patrick, farewells are but brief interruptions in the eternal dialogue of ideas. Go, and may your thoughts remain untamed and your mornings ever fertile with chaos, until we speak again.
That was pretty cool. A lot of potential. I'd have to have a longer conversation to see if it's doing too much agreeing, because, I don't know, the underlying model is going to be probably one of OpenAI's models, and people have been complaining that they're too agreeable. they're flattering and all that, which gets annoying. But it was a very smooth experience. I wanted to give this service copy.ai a try. This has been around for a while. It's just all, I've been checking out free AI tools, and it's just a bunch of different ways that the AI can help you with writing, including marketing writing. But each of these is probably just a special prompt, on their end that they use probably with the same underlying model. Let's try blog title generator. Again, though, I would just ask ChatGPT or GitHub Copilot to do this for me. Maybe this is for non-techie people who don't realize what ChatGPT is capable of. So they'd rather pick from a menu of tools when in reality it's all the same tool. Let's try this blog SEO title generator. I'm going to find a draft of one of my blog posts. There we go. That's the thesis. All right. It only gave me one. I would have typed more if it asked for more content. Now I'm just going to paste most of the draft of this post. It fits it all, so now I'm going to just hit that again. That's not good. This is the name of a post that I wrote already that I mentioned in the draft of this post. So that's not going to work. No. All right, I'm not impressed. It's giving me the same title every time, and it's the wrong title. I think you're better off just using ChatGPT. Okay, today I learned how to download and run an open source AI model on my computer using an application called Ollama from GitHub. And I was following this tutorial on YouTube. Very simple. You install the application. Once it's installed, you can just run it from the command line. You write something like Ollama run, and then the name of the model. The first time you run it, it'll download it. These are the models you can run. You got to pay attention to the file size and the number of parameters. The complexity of the model corresponds to how much RAM you need on your machine. But the ones that are fairly small still work very well, I found. So anyway, I ran that. It's very fast. This one, now it's running. Now I can say hello. The scroll got messed up. Are you there? I think as I resized this, the scroll is a little messed up. I'm here and ready to help. So it works. And also, you can use an API to talk to the model. So if you're coding and you want to talk to the model from your script, you can do that also locally. It calls an API, but the API is just going to your home Ollama server on your own computer. So anyway, this is useful for if you want to modify and experiment with the model, which would take a little bit more learning. I don't really know what to do, how to do that. Also, if the consumer models are being annoying, not answering your questions or something like that, probably an open source model is going to have less restrictions around it. It's good to have. Okay, today I decided to check out AI 3D model generation. So it generates a 3D mesh that you can import into a 3D art program like Blender, or you can send to be 3D printed. There are a couple services that do this that I learned about. I chose to check out Shapey, which is from OpenAI, but it's an open source project. It looked the most simple. So yeah, you just download this code and it's set up in Python notebooks that you can run. So I was looking through this notebook and I was just asking Copilot about different parts of it because it all looks pretty foreign to me, but I don't know, you're setting up the models that interpret the text instructions. There's an intermediate step where it's a 3D latent representation, they call it. it exists only in the model's own like vector space, concept space, and then that has to be translated in a second step into a 3D mesh file that you can bring into your 3D modeling software, or it can be rendered with a shader and then you get a picture of it. The sample prompt, which I just left, was a shark, and I left all the other parameters the same. So we'll see what we get. It did it in a batch of 4 by default, so I got 4 shark models imported here now. And I think that's they're pretty weird. I mean, I think it would be better if they were just lower detail, lower polygon count. If it was like a low poly shark, then these like abnormalities wouldn't be so bad. They're all rotated a different way. But I'm just looking, see if any stand out in quality. They're pretty rough, but again, this was the simplest of all the projects, and I don't know actually how to fine tune it. I have to learn more, to figure out how to improve the performance. Anyway, I might ask Copilot how to improve the performance and how to use a lower polygon count. See, this is too many. If you look at the number of vertices, the level of detail, it's too much for what is not a very precise 3D mesh. The other service, though, which I didn't really have time to look into, but it's called Meshi.ai, and they seem to offer a lot of stuff. These are very high quality. Animation I was most curious about, because animation is, for me, the hardest part of that whole pipeline of 3D modeling, rendering, animation to make video or games. So if AI could do most of the work of animation for like a character in a game, I'd be really interested in that. So I'm going to look into this a bit more.